house, and I'm Travis Drago. The views I'm about to express don't necessarily reflect anybody but me. But lately, I've been noticing a lot of things lately. You know, I've got the Discovery Channel once in a while, and I've seen there one thing on there called the Top 10 Cults, or whatever the heck it is. You know what, I find that me being a God-loving Catholic boy that I am, I find that a lot of times we stop and we don't think about who Jesus Christ really is and who God is. Or if you're Muslim, Allah. If you're Jewish, God. If you're Chinese Buddhist, big fat guy who with long, droopy earlobes, who's instead of the proper way of doing a protest like the Catholics IRA, they do a hunger strike. Instead, self-barbecue, but that's neither here nor there. But the thing is, I've noticed that when it comes to cults, nobody has ever really tipped the scale of claiming that they're Jesus, like Jim Jones. And the fact of the matter is the fact that everybody wants to point the finger at Jim Jones, and the fact that everybody wants to point the finger at People's Temple, or the fact that everybody wants to point at the People's Temple followers, the fact that they think that Jim Jones, and the fact that in a time where he really screwed up time about his followers, claiming to be God, and that over 900 to 1,000 of them committed suicide for the fact that they believed in a cause so much that they were willing to kill themselves. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Jim Jones was a reverend back in the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s who, at a time where he was like a white minister who believed that all blacks and all whites should be together. Now, in my mind, I think that could be a very good reason, if there was a reason, why so many people want to follow Jim Jones. For the matter of fact that in a time when blacks and whites were not equalized so much in the United States as they were today, Jim Jones was the kind of guy who had all the, I suppose you could say, all the right answers, I suppose you could say, which is absolutely totally ridiculous for the fact that people are so desperate to have equality in today's world that they're willing to follow a lunatic like Jim Jones. And after the Jonestown massacre, it was really really opened people's eyes as to say that, okay, Jim Jones was a nut job. Another reason why we should hate Christianity. And the one thing I can't stand, whether it be Pamela Anderson going stripping, saying that killing seals for food is wrong, and another, if it's not that, it's these atheists finding any excuse to say Christianity is bad, we shouldn't be Christians because people kill themselves. The fact of the matter is, Jim Jones, just because of one idiot thinking that he's God and having all the right, in many people's mind, all the right answers at a time when equality was not very equal in the United States, is absolute BS. And I would like to point out for the fact Jim Jones was a lunatic. People get brainwashed very easily, and I will say this, I'm going to go on record by saying this right now. The fact that Jim Jones managed to bring so many people together and make such an impact with the People's Temple regime, they had the potential to be something great in the world, and unfortunately, because Jim Jones went the other way, and he went totally out of it, and as I like to say, drunk with power, it didn't happen. So I would like to please to everyone, especially to these atheists who, in my mind, are just, well, I will say this right now, Satanists are lazy because they don't want to follow the rules of Christianity, because the fact that they think that, oh, by the way, Satanism, I'll make another video about that later. I will say this right now, Christians are true Christians, Catholics are true Catholics, Protestants, same thing, and I will personally go on and say right now, don't blame the actions of an entire group of people because of the actions of one man. That's all I'm saying about Jim Jones. The fact of the matter that Jim Jones tricked so many people into following when he really was getting drunk with power and psycho to begin with is not the fault of Christians in general. And the fact that so many people want to say, okay, Christians are bad because Jim Jones is bad, is absolutely gross. I'm Travis Drago, and that's my opinion.
Winter loves the fade